Welcome everybody to another workout at home. Today we're going to be focusing on lower body where we're using some very common household items, a simple cheap paper plate, and this is a little play ball that I purchased at a local grocery store. I was able to deflate it slightly and it makes an absolute perfect little, as I like to call it, mini ball for placing at the inner thigh to help activate the pelvic floor, which in turn activates the transverse abdominis. Okay, so anyway, let's get started. We're going to place the ball at that inner thigh position. Paper plate's going to go on the floor, okay, for later. And we're going to use a common chair with high back is kind of nice, about arm's distance. And this is to kind of simulate bar work. So here we go, let's get started. Abdominals in, really tall spine, shoulders down and relaxed. You're going to send your hips back like you're sitting into an imaginary chair that's just out of reach. Make sure your knee is right in line with the ankle. You should be able to wiggle your toes, but your toes stay down. As you exhale, you're going to squeeze that ball, pull up the pelvic floor, and engage the abdominals. Let's begin. Inhale, slowly lower. Exhale, squeeze, come up. Your range of motion is up to you, okay? Just make sure the hips don't go any lower than the line of the hip. I like to stop just above. Also, you want to make sure the pelvis is not rocking around. So the spine is stable, the pelvis is stable. And if you don't need the chair for balance, you can bring your hands at your side. Again, rolling those shoulders down and back. Or maybe you place your hands crossed and the elbows would point forward. This way gives you a little cue that you're not leaning over. Keeping your chest elevated. Exhale up, squeeze that ball. I like to have my hands here. If you had light hand-held weights, you could hold on to them here. Good. 3 more. 2. 1. Now we're going to take it down to our halfway point and little set of pulses. Now this is a really good time to really make sure your pelvis is neutral, spine is neutral, and watch that you're not pulsing into the knees, it's into the glutes, like you're trying to tap a chair that's just out of reach. Again, reposition those shoulders each time. That includes the neck. It's right in line, ear in line with the shoulder, head's not dropped, and we're not extending through the neck. Good. 4. Steady breath. 3. 2. 1. I want you to hold it. Inhale. As you exhale, press all the way up. We're going to add on here and go into a little releve. So those heels lift, lower the heels, and down. Lift. Lower. Lift. Nice and controlled. Make sure you're pressing through the center of the ball of the foot. Good. Knees, ankles, hips all in one line. Steady through the breath. And if you'd like to challenge your balance, take your hands off the back of the chair. Nothing else should change, and if it does, one or both hands up. 3, 2, and 1. I want you to hold it up. Leave your heels high. Bend the knees, lower the heels, and drive up. Lift the heels. Send those hips back. Lower the heels. Drive through the heels. Come on up. Lift. Bend. Heels down. Come on up. Lift. Send those hips back. Watch that knee alignment. One more time. Lift. Bend. Lower. Reverse it. Hold it here at the bottom. Lift. Come on up. Lower the heels. Bend. Lift. Come on up. Stay high. Lower. Hips down. want you to hold it here. Little pulses. And again, make sure you're not going forward with the knees. It's back with the hips. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going to do a static hold, halfway or a little less. Lower lift, just the heels. 8 more. 6, 4, 2, and 1. Keep those heels high, lengthen, and lower. Go ahead and take the ball out. Shake it out a little bit, maybe a little hip flexor, quad stretch, tucking the tail, keeping the knee low. Okay, good posture, everyone. Good, same thing other side. Tucking the tail, we don't want to arch the back. Neutral pelvis, knee points down. Breathe through your stretches. Okay, we're gonna continue on. And now what I'd like us to do is go into what we call a little Pilates V. So heels together, toes apart. About arm's distance, set the pelvis. Okay, we're gonna bend the knees. It's gonna go out about the width of the shoulders. Imagine you're gliding down a wall, straight down, and your range of motion might be a little smaller here. Exhale up. Wrapping those gluteals around to center. And if you don't need the support, arms at your side, genie arms, or maybe you'd like to float the arms in front. Good. You choose. 3 more. Squeeze those glutes. You're feeling your quads. Actively squeeze those glutes. Good. Hold it down halfway and a little set of pulses. Heels stay glued together. Shoulders down and relaxed. Steady through the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up all the way. Hold it there for a moment. Lift the heels, lower the heels. Now your heels might separate. Do your best to keep them glued together. If they don't, that's fine. Watch your pelvis here. Sometimes we get into that anterior tilt, so if you feel it in your low back a little bit, tuck the tail under. Lengthen that tailbone down toward your heels. Same pace up, same pace down. 3 more. 2. And 1. Now I want you to hold it high. Bend the knees. Lower the heels. Drive. Come up. Lift the heels. Bend the knees. Lower the heels. Drive. Come up. You got it. Couple more. 1 more. Now we're going to reverse that. Go straight down, lift the heels, lengthen, lower the heels, bend the knees, heels lifted. Continue with that pattern. Concentrate on your movement. Stay within your body. Stay connected to your breath. Last one. Now hold it. Little pulses here. Heels can stay high, or if you need to, they can go down. Rolling those shoulders down and back. Feel those quads, belly is engaged. And hold halfway, lower lift, just the heels. 8 more. 6, 4, 2, and 1. Hold it high, lengthen, and lower. Great job. Let's do a little different stretch. I want to show you some variety here for some quad and hip flexors. Get yourself in a lunge position. Tuck the tail. vertical spine. Bend the knee and shift your whole body weight back. If you do not feel this, tuck a little more, shift it back a little more, bend the knee. I feel it. Good, same thing other side. Get a nice wide stance, tuck my vertical torso here, bend the knee, shift your body weight back, maybe bend the knee a little more. Just find a place where you feel it. Breathe through that area. Good. Shake it out. All right, now we're going to go into wide second. I want to show you front view. So you're going to go a little wider than the shoulders. Tuck the tail like we did before. You have that external rotation. Okay, so within the hips, so toes are turned out. Reposition if you lost it. Bending the knees. Heels or hip drops straight down like you're going down an elevator shaft. All the same rules apply. Don't let your hips go below the knee. Engage the core, drive through the heels as you come up. Resist on the way down. Try to keep that steady pace. Same pace down, same pace up. And again, you can bring your arms at your side. Crossed or in front. And if you want a nice challenge here, hold the arms up. And that's going to increase that heart rate. So that's up to you. Holding on to the back of your chair. 3 more. 2. 1. Find your halfway point. Little pulses. Try not to pull on the chair. It's just there for support. You don't need it. Don't use it. Again, the ear, shoulder, hip all in one line. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now come up all the way. You're going to go into your wide releve. Good. And lower. Bend, lengthen, lift, lower. Working those calves, ankle articulation, mobility, foot mobility. Down, up, lift, lower. Try to stay with that pace so the breath is coordinated. Lift, lower. Last 2. Resist. Good. All right. Hold it high. Bend the knees. Lower the heels. Come on up. Lift the heels. Bend the knees. Drop the hip. Lower the heels. Lengthen. Lift. Bend. Lower. Extend. Lift. Bend. Lower. Extend. 2 more times. Now go straight down. Hold. Lift the heels. Keep them high. Up. You're just reversing that pattern. Keep it going. One more time. All right, hold it down, lift the heels, little pulses with the heels lifted, dropping the hips straight down, tucking that tail under just a little bit to maintain that neutral. Sometimes, again, it gets away from us. We don't want to feel it in that low back. Driving through the belly. And hold, lower to lift, just the heels. 8, 6, think of tall through the crown of the head. Last two. Hold it up, lengthen, and lower. All right, great job. Shake it out a little bit, go where you need that stretch. I showed you 2 stretches earlier. I'm going for the standing single leg. Keep your breath going. Tucking that tail slightly if you don't feel it. Same thing other side. All right, that was a lot of calf work as well, so let's make sure we stretch that out. Go into your lunge position. And your toes and your heels and the knees and the hips are all flowing in one line. Good. Hold that static stretch. If you'd like to make it more active, lift and lower, or hold the static. I like the active, but it's slow. Focusing on that down phase right there. And bend the knee. Bend and lengthen if you want to get a little lower. That's optional. Good. Hold it bent. Push your heel back just a little more. And same thing other side. Get everything in alignment. Square off the hips, tuck the tail just a wee bit to keep it neutral. Good. Again, lift and lower or the static. Make sure your front leg has got a soft knee bend. Just a little. Remember, you're focusing on that back leg. Calf, ankle, Achilles, and foot. All right, bend, extend, bend. Again, this is really for foot mobility, and your arches feels just great. 2 more. Now hold it bent. Press your heel back as you bend just maybe a little bit more. And feeling that stretch deeper and lower into the Achilles and the soleus, a little deeper calf muscle. All right, go ahead and shake it out. Good. And now we're going to use our common paper plate here. So everybody's got paper plates. If not, cheap, cheap, cheap. Okay, so here we go. Square off the hip. The left leg is in front. Your right leg is going to be your scooting or lunging leg, okay? So it's not doing a lot of work. Okay, your front leg is doing all the work. And we'll start off and holding on to your back of your chair, and we'll add on later. Slide back. Let's make sure this first one's extra good. Ankles right underneath the knee, and it doesn't rotate in or out, so make sure it stays in line. Your shin is perpendicular. As you come up, you drive that left heel into the ground and drag that right leg back up. Make sure the spine is really neutral. If you're tight in the hip flexor, here's a little tip. If you just do a subtle hinge at the hip, because sometimes people go straight down and they feel a little tightness in the hip flexor, make sure it's subtle. The pelvis is neutral, the spine is neutral, and your depth is up to you. You obviously need flexibility here. Just make sure we're not doing that. Knee goes forward, and you can see my knees just right above that ankle. The hips are square. Okay, that's important and steady. All right, if you don't need your chair, you might lose a little range of motion, but that's okay. Hard for the challenge the balance. Also, it just creates a little more resistance for that front leg. Focus on that breath. And the gluteal fold, where the glutes and hamstring meet. Okay, and that left leg. All right, on this last one, we're going to hold it down. Go ahead and hold on to your chair again. These are called scooter lunges. So you're static in the left. The right leg scoots in and out. Oh, I feel my left leg. Shoulders down, neck long. 4 more. 3, 2. We're almost done, but not yet. Hold it and little pulses in the front leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold. drag it back. Good. Shake it out, and we'll stretch it out after. All right, let's switch sides. Good, so now your right leg is the working leg. Make sure your hips are square. You'll have all those alignment cues here. Knee is right above the ankle. Make sure it doesn't go forward. Glide your left leg back without pulling with your upper body. Drag it back. Square to the chair. Shoulders are down. You want that challenge for balance. And again, that adds quite a bit of resistance. If you feel your toes gripping, just make sure all your weight is in your heel. You should be able to see your shoelaces, or at least the front part of your feet. All right. One more time. I'm going to hold on to the back of the chair for our scooters. Here we go. Hold, drag it in, extend back. Just a steady breath here. Watch your knee position. 4, 3, 2, hold it back. And little pulses with the front leg, but think of sending that hip back. Send that hip back, not knee forward. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold. With that right leg, drive it up. Oh, that was a good one. Shake it out. And we're gonna do a little stretch now, okay? Go ahead and stand all your body weight on your left leg. Everything's in alignment. Cross that ankle, flex the foot. A lot of times that hip moves around, so let's make sure you're nice and neutral and square. And send your hips back, keeping that knee from coming forward, then also not allowing the hip to drop. Everybody's going to be a little different here. It's a great outer hip stretch. I feel it deep into the deepest little muscle called piriformis. Don't forget your abs. Now let's do a little active stretch. Down and up. You're definitely going to feel this also in your left leg. You can keep the static going. And hold it down for 4, 3, 2. Keep that knee down and hip square. Good, same thing other side. Make sure your supporting leg, okay, is a little soft and underneath its own hip. Let's do that cross, flex the foot, square off the hips. Square to the chair. Chest is up, head neutral. Good. Sometimes again we wobble around. Remember the knee joint is a hinge. It has no rotational factor, so we want to make sure that knee stays right over its own ankle. The hip you're stretching is the left, so push that knee away and re-square the hips if it got a little lost. Belly is lifted, send it a little lower. We do a little active stretch. Make sure you have control over this. All right. And hold. 4, 3, send it a little deeper. Decrease this angle, thigh and spine, rib cage. Good. All right. Shake it out. Okay. That concludes our standing lower body work. You did a great job, and we'll see you next time for Pilates at home.